I'm Tammy Christensen. I'm a CPB, Certified Professional Bookkeeper. And there are a lot of questions going on right now about the new field that we are filling out on T4s, box 45 for dental benefits. So let's talk about that. I'm here with you on the CRA webpage that talks about T4s. So I'm going to scroll down and go specifically here. So for calendar year 2023 and after, so the T4s were typically filing in January or February of 2024, it is mandatory to indicate whether the employee or their family members were eligible on December 31st of that year to access any dental care insurance or coverage of dental services of any kind that you offered. Let's dig into this a little bit. It's mandatory. You have to do it. There is no option not to, whether it's a third party filing these forms for you or you're doing it yourself, you have to do it. There's a small exclusion down here. You can see that it's not mandatory when and only when Code 1 is applicable, but it also says that this administrative policy applies only if all reasonable efforts have been made to comply with the reporting requirements. So just fill it out. Okay. Let's dig in a little bit further. Access is bolded here. Access means that you offer a dental plan or a healthcare spending account, because they're saying coverage of dental services of any kind. So dental care insurance specifically, or a healthcare spending account that could be used towards dental, have to be included here. So you need to know if you have an HSA, if that can be used towards dental, it's going to count. So you have to know if the employee has access to that or not. Okay. Access to what you offer is different than what the employee has opted into on your dental plan. So you don't have to go to your benefits administrator and find out what everybody has opted in or opted out and line that up to the T4. That's not the way a lot of professionals in this industry are reading this information. It's, do you as the employer offer this dental package to your employees? Whether or not they've opted in or not does not make a difference to whether or not they have access to it. Okay. The date here is important. Something I'm noticing some of my peers aren't necessarily talking about is, were they eligible on that specific day, the last day of the year? So if you've had an employee who's no longer with your company, either their decision or yours, that's going to change whether or not you say that they had access, because as of December 31st, if they're no longer your employee, unless there's something as part of a package where you've packaged them out, if they were no longer eligible for benefits because their employment has been terminated, you're going to switch the code that you're using for them. Another scenario I see where we might not be choosing one of these codes, like 2 through 5, is if they're a part-time employee and they don't actually qualify for benefits with you because they're not working enough hours. Then you're going to choose that they're not eligible because they aren't. Okay, so in terms of selecting the code that you're using, if you as an employer are offering a benefits plan that only covers the employee, you're going to choose option 2. If it's a benefit plan where it could be the employee, their spouse, and their dependent children, which I think is the most chosen form in Canada, you're going to choose option 3. Whether they have kids or a spouse or not is irrelevant, or so I'm told. So that's supposed to simplify the reporting of this. Okay, if you only cover payee and their spouse and you would never cover dependent children, fine, and payee and just their dependent children. So you're not choosing based on what they have chosen in your benefits plan, is the communication that we're getting so far. Will this change? Possibly, but that's how we're being told to do it for this year. One last thing to mention, and many of you, this isn't going to apply. However, if you file multiple T4 slips for an employee on various RP accounts of your single business number, you need to consistently report on all slips what coverage was offered on December 31st of that year. What does this mean? Okay, if you don't have more than one RP number for your payroll account, ignore this, jump ahead to the next chapter in this video. And if you're not sure what this means, an example of having multiple RP accounts on the same business number would be that there's one business that has multiple locations, and for whatever reason, they have opted to have separate payroll numbers for each location. So a dental office could have 2 different locations, 2 different payroll numbers under the same business account. If you had an employee who works at both locations, they're going to get 2 T4s, one from each location that has paid them. So what they're saying here is, even if they're only getting benefits from working at the one location, you're going to report it the same on both T4s, and obviously you're going to report that they do have access to those benefits. So keep your reporting consistent on the T4 from the same business number. I hope that helps clarify what you are selecting and doing these T4s properly in this first year of the new rollout. If you have questions, post them below. We can always email as well. And let me know if this video helped. Give it a thumbs up for other people who are trying to file these T4s to see it.